Welcome to the Reality Revolution. Today, I want to dedicate another episode on intuition. We have dedicated several episodes on intuition over the course of the podcast. One of my very first episodes is simply on intuition as I gathered the information that I had on intuition at that time. And we've explored it through a variety of authors, including Florence Scovel Shinn's The Magic Path of Intuition, and U.S. Anderson has an amazing chapter in 3 Magic Words on intuition. I have an episode on how to make decisions where I discuss a variety of different belief systems that will allow you to incorporate intuition into your life. Intuition is incredibly important if we are trying to create our reality. If you have a goal and you have imagined that perfect goal for you to create your reality, the next step is taking action and moving towards that reality that you have imagined. This oftentimes requires a sensitive intuition calibrated toward hints and urges that you might have. Oftentimes, people will be amazingly good at visualizing the reality that they want, even feeling the reality that they want. And then once that reality begins to become real, they don't follow their intuition, which is guiding them towards that wonderful experience or that wish fulfilled. So in order for you to create the reality that you want and to actually experience it, you must learn how to tune your intuition properly so that opportunities come to you in perfect ways and you're able to take advantage of them. If you cannot tune in your intuition and hear the still small voice within, when you make decisions and take actions, you will never be able to create the reality or attract and manifest the things that you want in your life. Albert Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." We all strive to live a better life. It has been said, when we know better, we do better. That desire deep down inside has brought you to listen to this episode. And I would guess that you came to this episode not by mere happenstance or accident, but indeed by divine design. Have you ever wondered how you can really know that you are making the best choice as you move forward? Often, life throws us a curveball to wake us up and get our attention. In doing so, it can in fact be a course correction to keep us from harm's way or to make sure we keep on track with our life purpose. Some of us are stubborn, and we use our free will to make things happen, ignoring the signs and hunches of our intuition. So what is intuition? If you Google the word intuition, you get the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning, and a thing that one knows or considers likely from instinctive feeling rather than conscious reasoning. A sixth sense, clairvoyance, divination, hunch, or funny feeling. You begin to get the sense there's a blurry line between intuition, sixth sense, and what some may consider psychic abilities, or even heart intelligence, leading with your heart over your head. I've always had a strong sense of intuition and connection with my spiritual side in the realm of the unseen. Yet little by little, it was conditioned out of me because I was taught to deny my emotions and to be smart and logical, to always go to the experts, to get the best information, to make decisions based on logic and the facts. Little did I know I would be operating with only partial information. All the 3D facts were just part of the story of what was before me, and in fact, incomplete information. Despite that, I did okay. However, it led me to a quest to learn more and thirst for greater truth and a better way of living and thinking and making decisions. I have come to learn that denying your emotion is in fact unhealthy and thus leaves you operating without a valuable chunk of information that can completely change the direction you are heading in. In my experience, it's the number one reason that people drink, do drugs, and have addictions. Sometimes it's an unconscious use of distractions as you become aware of things or feelings unwanted, and notice the feelings you feel and the thoughts you think. Naturally, it's possible you may not want to feel the unpleasant, dark feelings and emotions, and possibly opt for self-numbing to get relief. But as a result, this numbing results in a temporary escape and only postpones the digestion of emotions, which are necessary to break free of the repeating cycle. Feeling what you feel and having a way to manage those very emotions is valuable information to navigate your way through your daily decision-making process. These emotions affect our intuition. Intuition is a notion, an instinct, a sense, a gut feeling, and in some cases a small, faint voice from your guides or your higher self. I want to encourage you to hit the pause button and suspend your disbelief and imagine, what if? This is the one thing that can get you back on course so you can live the life you've always dreamed of and create the reality that you want. The life you're aware of, you can live. The fulfillment of your wishes, what if? If you are numbing out, distracting yourself so you don't feel, you're literally disconnecting yourself from your wisdom. Some of the greatest minds in history have acknowledged their intuition as the key to their success. Albert Einstein valued it above traditional intelligence. He in fact considered it a form of intelligence. As Shakespeare said in Hamlet, "To thine own self be true." In this moment, you may be aware as you listen to this podcast and notice the truth of the words that you hear that resonate with you, that you recognize and realize you've known this all along, and indeed comprehend this because it's simply a reminder to get your internal compass set back to true north. Yes, calibrate the internal you. You will recognize this is what you've been seeking. As your ears hear what you know to be true, you feel what you feel. You sense what you sense. You hear your inner being and hear in your mind's eye what you hear, and you move forward knowing you've got more at your fingertips than you ever thought possible. Because you are listening to this, you know you are on the right track. Oprah has said, what she knows for sure is learning to trust your instincts. Using your intuitive sense of what's best for you is paramount for any lasting success. I've trusted the still small voice of intuition my entire life, and the only time I've made mistakes is when I didn't listen. Now, it's really hilarious to me that whenever I post a quote from Oprah that I get negative comments. So yes, I don't care what you have to say about Oprah. She has been successful and thus has used her intuition. She says that it's really more of a feeling than a voice, a whispery sensation that pulsates beneath the surface of your being. All animals have it. We are the only creatures that deny and ignore it. When Steve Jobs was writing his autobiography, he told writer Walter Isaacson, intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect. As you dive in deeper to apply the principles, you will bring to light that this is yet another journey of awareness of self. Notice you'll be compelled to listen to this again and again and use it to prompt your intuition like a virtual oracle. Simply scroll forward or backwards on this episode to give you an answer, inspiration, or prompting, or just thinking of it. As you become aware that it's an effective, reliable anchor, you'll notice how recognizing and realizing your true inner self, aware of your body, the sensations it has that causes feelings that affect your breath, and it affects your state of being. So as you become aware of your innate desire to increase your natural intuition, you will realize it's an internal sense that has never left you and has simply been suppressed, repressed, and denied as a direct result of parental and societal conditioning. You'll recognize from a deep place of knowing in your inner being, just as you hear these words, there will be a sense of remembering and understanding all along, and you realize and comprehend the truth herein, and you take notice of your own intuition automatically rising. Part of this practice is a simple and natural calibration, which you inherently already have a predisposition to be in. Thus, it is a painless and effortless task that as you move forward and begin to enjoy the confirmation of your intuitive calibration, that very muscle has a muscle memory that will instantly bounce back to its original intact state and can even grow beyond anything you can humanly imagine if that is in fact what you want to know. There are a few tips I'd like to prescribe for you to recognize your intuition. It is my intention, which is the inward attention, to what I would like to bring forth to guide you back to your true north so you are re-empowered with your divine birthright. In a moment, not yet, but just in a moment, you'll start to gradually become aware of things that in the past you dismissed. However, now they will stand out like alarms or red flags notifying you, "Here I am," and you'll smile in delight. On occasion, you'll know it's a sign of your intuition trying to tell you something. Other times, you will instantly know what the significance is to you and what it means. The key thing is to take notice of the signs. The first thing to recognize is the quieting of the mind and recognizing the difference between your consciousness and your left brain ego state of thinking logically. Consciousness and your intuition always express loving thoughts towards you and is always uplifting and encouraging. In opposition are the big three. First, the ego, which is not your friend and in fact is your enemy. Until you know how to use your ego as a GPS, you'll be ordered around by it and subject to it. But by quieting the mind, you will learn to distinguish between your ego, your brain, and emotions manifesting in both thoughts and feelings from your intuition and higher state of consciousness. Intentionally going into a theta or alpha state, you can direct your consciousness and distinguish between the brain's thoughts, the ego, and emotions stored up in your body that your brain interprets. You can learn how to get into that perfect theta state by listening to any one of my meditations. Usually the first 10 minutes, I have a variety of techniques that I use to get you into an alpha or theta state. And this involves slowing down your breath and elaborate exercises to create a level of relaxation. Secondly, your brain, which simply is a storage mechanism for filing away memories and experiences, interprets the vibrational frequencies of your 5 senses and your 8 neurosomatic sensory systems. This includes filing away the emotions you feel during experiences as emotions, feelings, and sensations in your body. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a cutting-edge leading neuroscientist who should definitely be nominated for a Nobel Prize because of the many different contributions that he's made, specializing in neuroplasticity and epigenetics and mind-body medicine and brain-heart coherence, distills the effective mystical teachings to heal the body through scientific proof, an explanation providing an effective roadmap that anyone can follow to heal themselves. He routinely says in his books and events, thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body. How you think and how you feel determine your state of being. Know that the voices and thoughts that come from the left side orientation of your mind are felt as coming from that left hand side of your internal mind's eye, and your intuition is felt as coming from your right hand side. This has scientifically been proven. Better said, you have conscious awareness on the right and everything else on the left. Notice the position in yourself so you embrace the familiar feeling of the ego and thoughts of memory coming from intellect as rising from the left. Now notice how your conscious awareness is on the right. One thing I routinely do when meditating or intuiting is I take my conscious awareness and direct blood flow to my right side of my brain simply by bringing my focus from the base of my spine all the way up to the right side of my brain. Next, become aware of the feeling, the spaciousness, the focused consciousness. You realize and quickly recognize it feels different, and you comprehend, you understand the difference in feeling and sensation. With a little practice, it becomes increasingly obvious, and as you become aware, you trust it more as you test it. Eric Kandel, a scientist and Harvard graduate, instructor of neurobiology and psychiatry, as well as Nobel Prize winner in 2000 for physiology and medicine, discovered the number of synaptic connections in neurons in your brain doubled from 1,300 to 2,600 whenever you learn something new. Because of this, as you are listening to this episode, you're learning and becoming aware of something new. And this automatically engages double the neurons in your brain to begin to rewire and fire the synaptic connections to store, learn, and retrieve this new information to increase your intelligence and intuition. Notice neuroscientists have discovered memories are stored on your left side of your brain and retrieval is on your right. During a meditation in June, I think it was 2020, I had this amazing epiphany. The brain stores memories on the left and also transmits throughout the body the memorized familiar emotions, feelings, and sensations. On the left hemisphere of the brain is where the ego resides. It knows your memories and tries to control you based on what is familiar. It does this to try to give you a predictable future and keep you safe. Your right side is where you retrieve information, insight, and intuition from the divine, God, infinite source, intelligence, the great I am, the creator, whatever it is that you want to call it, in the quantum. This is why when I meditate, I always sense the downloads in my consciousness on my right and my brain and ego on my left. This has been profound for me, and I plan on including this more and more in my meditations as I have confirmed this over several years. Jill Bolte Taylor, a Harvard-trained neuroanatomist, author, experienced massive stroke on the left side of her brain. She wrote her New York Times bestseller about her observations as a neuroscientist in a book called A Stroke of Insight. In that book, she talks about her experience of the moment-by-moment process of losing her left side brain function and the thoughts and perceptions she experienced. She explains we have two cognitive minds. In other words, we truly have two separate brains from which we have thinking capabilities. What does that mean, and how does that affect us? The right hemisphere is about right here, right now, this present moment. This side thinks in pictures and uses and learns kinesthetically through the movement of our bodies. Here you have a huge infinite source of intelligence. Choose this side to experience more peace. You might be questioning what I mean by choosing the right side. In effect, if you are all in your head, nervous, anxious, uptight, rationalizing, bent on figuring or solving a problem, and you want to instead experience peace, simply choose to use your right brain by directing blood flow to the right by slowing down your breath, your heart rate, and brainwaves, and intend for the energy to move to your right hemisphere by focusing on it for a few minutes. What I have found is moving my eyes up and to the right, looking up at the right brain, that I can increase the blood flow to this area. The left hemisphere is like a computer parallel processor. It thinks linearly and methodically all about the past and the future, designed to take an enormous collage of the present moment. It takes all the details and categorizes and files them away along with all the possibilities related to the data it collects. This is still important. I'm not telling you to ignore it. I'm telling you that if you just rely on this portion of your brain, that you are limiting the information that you have and the wisdom that you can gather of the future. Calculating intelligence designed to estimate expectations of the future to mitigate unwanted, unpleasant surprises comes on the left side. The voice that says, I am, it's what separates me from you. Here you are a solid, separate Homo sapien. This is what separates us from others and expresses and embraces your individuality and personality. As Jill Bolte Taylor's stroke ensued and she observed her body while on her cardio glider, she noticed her perception of her body had changed and she thought, whoa, I have huge claws, which she used for her hands. As she continued to observe, she lost a sense of her body. The molecules of her flesh and bone body blended in with the molecules of the wall, and she was aware in an altered and unusual state of consciousness, witnessing the energy exchange and interconnectivity of her biology from the inside out, all because her left side of her brain was being shut down by the stroke, so she only had the functional capacity of the right, which we pointed out earlier is where you connect with the consciousness. This again points to the discovery of neuroscientists from a more personal perspective. She says the two hemispheres of the brain are two very different places and they don't share any cell bodies. They are completely separate entities. She says, I can choose to come into the world as my right brain personality, which is more compassionate, more open, more loving, and more right here, right now available. In effect, she's informing us that we have a choice, free will, to decide how we want to navigate our brains and not simply allow it to run by default. We can opt at our own discretion to deploy the right brain, which is an entirely separate organ and entity from the left. It is a choice. You'll notice that my discussion of the right brain is very similar to the discussion of the heart. And I believe, as we discuss in reality transurfing, the key to intuition and manifestation is the coordination of the mind and heart, but in particular, the coordination of the right brain with the heart. When these two come together, this seat of consciousness in our brain and this open, loving consciousness within our heart, the divine moves into the individualized divine portion of our consciousness in our right brain. When we tap into this, that is the very beginning of intuition. I have found that intuition is always gentle, not like your ego that tries to beat you up, put you down, make you feel unworthy, less than you are, not enough, not smart enough, not good looking enough. The ego is loud, incessant, and makes you feel terrible. These are not loving thoughts towards you, so this is not your intuition, but your ego acting like your master, because up until now, you believed those thoughts were you. That's right. Until now, all your life, you thought those were your thoughts. Thoughts of the past that are brought up, of your failing or falling short, are the ego pulling memories in the brain to justify and rationalize the thought it is using to keep you back, keep you small, and keep you safe from moving forward. Most importantly, it tries to keep you in the familiar so you can have a predictable outcome of the future. As you tell yourself, I'm highly intuitive, and I choose now to tune in, tap in, and turn on my intuition, which is perfectly calibrated, you'll begin to notice signs, symbols, and synchronicities. Your intuition will sometimes give you the feeling of an intuitive hit, or what sometimes you can call a download or a sense of knowingness. So say this with me: I am highly intuitive, and I choose now to tune in, tap in, and turn on my intuition, which is perfectly calibrated. Say that to yourself. When you get this download, some people feel an itchy nose, a buzzy feeling on the tip of their nose, a tingle on their toe, a buzzy feeling in their body, ringing in their ears, chills, goosebumps, or they may sneeze or yawn. You may feel a tingle in your scalp, tightness of your scalp, or something may simply catch your eye. Everyone is individualized and different. Infinite differentiation is the law of life. So your intuitive sense will be differentiated from mine, but it will have similarities. Start to take notice as you test your intuition. Before long, you'll notice and know and embrace and recognize your intuition. So tune in, tap in, turn on your intuition. As you understand and comprehend this is the well of infinite source intelligence, because it's your divine birthright and it's always been part of you, and you realize and recognize now is the time to embrace it. So have you ever lost your keys or misplaced them in your home? Everybody has. I do it all the time. And my favorite is when I lose my keys at my desk and I don't know it's on my desk, and I look everywhere and it's literally right next to me. I, of course, have done that many times. So when you have something that you lose, your phone, your keys, your wallet, in your house, say to yourself, okay, brain, I know I have a perfect memory because you have recorded everything since my birth. I know I have perfect recall, so I want you to pop into my head exactly where I placed them. Next, relax, knowing it will pop into your head. You may get a feeling or a sense you need to go look in a drawer, get something in the kitchen, or put on a specific jacket. What you'll notice is that the jacket pocket is where you left your keys. Normally, you would have never looked there because you always place them on your key hook, but this time you didn't. This is how your intuition will guide you back to answer the question you asked your brain. Now, it may not be successful the first time, but get into the habit of doing this. Another thing to note is your intuition will often bring your attention to something seemingly insignificant. Maybe you notice a particular change in the breeze, or your foot sinks in the sand in an unusual way. Maybe you keep noticing coins in your path as you walk, or you hear a large boom or a distant siren right as you are saying something important. An unusual warm breeze or smoother type of sensation around your body. That is your intuition signaling you to pay extra attention to what was just said to you or what you said to someone. For example, you may be in the midst of a conversation with someone and you suddenly hear the sound of an ambulance siren blaring. This could be an indicator to pay special attention to what was said to you or what you said to someone in that conversation. These seem to be subtle things when you're not used to paying attention to these indicators. However, as you begin to become more mindful, they will seem obvious and impossible to ignore. The universe is truly speaking to you through your intuition and is reflecting out in your 3D world signs to guide you. It's a big realization for me that the gut is never wrong. Sometimes you'll literally and physically have a gut feeling. Maybe your stomach will turn, ache, or feel like there's a deep pit in it. Your stomach may suddenly feel upset during a discussion, argument, or call. That is your intuition using your body, your actual autonomic nervous system signaling to tell you something is not right and that something in your midst warrants your attention. Red flag alert. This is your internal GPS, which, as you know, we normally think of as our system to guide our cars. In this case, it's helping you navigate and letting you know you need a course correction in your reality. Some would say this is how your angels or spirit guides warn you of danger. In my experience, it's all the same. If you're wondering if you're being kept from harm's way, know that absolutely. You are being protected. Listen to your intuition. This is valuable feedback. Understand the way that this works. When you leave your front door, there's a space of variations, a field of unlimited possibilities, a quantum field in which all possibilities exist for what will happen in your future. Your heart and your right brain are sensitized to all these possibilities. Right now, you may be living out these possibilities in parallel realities, and the intuition is this wonderful sense that is tuned into all these realities. You see this in cataclysmic events. Scientifically, they have found a correlation when there are train accidents and plane accidents to a number of people not getting on the plane or the train. The reason for this is that you feel a signal, like if I get on this plane or if I get on this train, there's going to be an accident, and you choose not to. This happened during 9/11. In many of the towers, people chose not to go to work. People chose not to get on the plane. There are a variety of stories throughout history that have been documented. This is absolutely a scientifically valid thing that occurs around catastrophes and crisis events. Our intuition is always communicating with us and protecting us. And if you are sensing something intuitively, it is because this may have happened in another reality. And it's guiding you, hey, in another reality, you got on that plane and it didn't work out for you, so stay off. Your heart and your right brain together are tuned into this quantum field. And the more you become sensitized to your intuition, the more you become aware of all the possibilities that are available to you. And if you can understand that it's coming through you in a variety of different ways, through your emotions and your body, and through a variety of other signals that can also happen in the outside world. Sounds, signs, and other people can come to you. You are tuned into your higher self, and the entire universe is working to guide you. And if you can believe this, which is hard for people to believe, but if you can believe this, that the universe is guiding you, then you start to be aware of the ways in which it is guiding you. Now, I'm going to give you what I would say 6 important steps just to start the process of tuning into your intuition. I'm not asking for you to believe me. I'm asking you to test this and experiment on it and to see what happens. Intuition is powerful and it's underutilized, so you may not know the true power until you set about a course to increase your own intuition, to unlock its power. So the first step is that you have to trust yourself. Oftentimes we get bogged down in the advice of others, thinking that we really don't know the truth, and we think we have to ask other people, what should I do? What do you think the best decision is? And in doing so, we undermine our internal confidence in what we know. You must trust yourself. You must know that you know the answer for what you need to do. Maybe your mom is telling you how it should be, and you've always trusted your mom or your friend, but you must begin to trust yourself to truly gain the powers of your intuition. I know it sounds obvious, but it's often easier said than done. Self-doubt and second-guessing can cloud your intuition. Listen to your gut feelings and trust your initial instincts. These may provide you with the first clues to unlocking your intuition. In most cases, not universally, but in the high 90th percentile, I have found that the intuition works best when it is immediate. So you think of something and the first immediate impression, the one that comes through immediately, is an example of your intuition at work. The second step is to quiet your mind. Your intuition often communicates in whispers, not shouts. That's why it's so important to cultivate silence and stillness within your mind. You can do this through mindfulness exercises, meditation, or just spending quiet time in nature. The goal is to create a quiet space where your intuition can make itself heard. The third step is to be observant. Oftentimes we're walking around in the world and we're not observing what's actually happening. Intuition often comes through subtle hints and signs. Be observant of the world around you and pay attention to any patterns, synchronicities, or coincidences. These could all be indications from your intuition helping to guide you. I also would advise that you look at animals, birds, things happening in nature. If you see repeated patterns and you're able to look them up and see their symbolism, the whole universe is communicating with you. Check out my episode, Reality is Communicating with You. That is communicating to your intuition. The fourth step is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a great way to enhance your intuition. By living in the present moment, forgetting about the past, which can often cloud your intuitional judgment, and concerns about the future, which can often cloud your intuitional judgment. But live in the present moment. By living in the present moment, you can better tune into your intuitive thoughts and feelings. This can be done through mindful eating, mindful walking, or any activity that allows you to be fully present and aware. Usually I find the greatest wisdom comes to me when I'm fully present in the moment and I am aware. The fifth step, which is very important, is to keep a journal. Keep a journal. It can be extremely helpful. Record your dreams, which often is a powerful resource of your intuition. Record your thoughts, your feelings, and any intuitive insights you have during the day. This will not only help you track your progress, but it can also provide valuable insights into how your intuition communicates with you. If you're like my kids and you don't like to write in a journal, you can simply record voice to text into your notes on your phone. But find some place to record what is happening. You wake up from a dream, you record it. Go back and read these things and you'll start to see the way your intuition worked in the past and the way that your present reality was intuited by those events. And the sixth step is trust the process. Unlocking your intuition is a process. Don't rush it. Don't get frustrated. If you don't see immediate results, keep practicing, be patient, and trust that this will work. Eventually, oftentimes you're breaking down lots of different patterns and beliefs that have obstructed your intuition over a long course of time. So these are just some simple steps. There's many more that you can use to unlock. But I want you to come away with one important thing, and that is you must have your intuition in order to achieve your dreams, to see your wishes fulfilled, to properly create your reality. It's not about manifesting, sitting in meditation and visualizing. That part you may be very good at. And if you're sitting there saying, I've been working on manifesting and visualizing and feeling good and doing affirmations, but nothing's happening, then I want you to look at how you're using your intuition. Because usually the major step that's involved, the bridge of incidents that's involved, is you following some intuitional symbol, idea, or thought along the way that guides you to talk to somebody, to read a new book, to go to a new place. Whatever it is, those things have to happen in order for you to see all your wishes fulfilled, and that is my ultimate goal no matter what. I have found that we have greater levels of intuition when we think outside of ourselves. If it's all self-focus, it doesn't seem to work as well. But if you're thinking about others, then you will have greater intuitional guidance. By getting outside of yourself, you escape from your left brain and move into your right brain thinking that has access to source and all knowledge. And if you're opening your heart, and that involves loving others and connecting it, you're bringing this universal laser-like energy from heart to mind, connecting them together, and you have this incredible resource and ability to intuit what is happening in your world, and you have a path that lays itself out before you. It's the magic path of intuition, and if you follow it, all of your dreams will come true. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com, and welcome to The Reality Revolution.